Welcome to day 257 of the 300 Movie Challenge. Today we watched the highest grossing film of October 2015, which was The Martian.
So, of course, the immediate comparison is to both Apollo 13 and Gravity.
Yeah.
Now, I noticed something. I was like, hey, Gravity was also October.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, wait a minute. Interstellar was November 2014.
Oh.
So we had Gravity as October 2013, then Interstellar is November 2014, and then this is October 2015. And then I was like, is this a trend? And then I was like, wait a minute, was there anything in like October or November in 2016 that was like a space movie? And there was.
It was?
In November 2016, that was the release of Arrival, which is a different movie. It's not really in space, but, you know, I think that's close enough to consider that a trend. Now, I couldn't think of anything for 2017 or anything like that, but still, it's kind of interesting that, like, for, like, 4 years in a row, like, October, November, there were these, like, spacey movies. So I think that's an odd, interesting coincidence. Yeah. That said, I am bitter that we didn't end up watching Interstellar.
I'm sorry.
And guess what? You know what movie beat it?
What?
Fucking Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1.
Fuck!
Yeah.
No!
Oh my god, loud. Ow.
Oh my god.
You just destroyed everything.
This is why Hunger Games is bad.
Yeah, well, we don't have to talk about it anymore, okay? So,
Yeah.
we
So
talk
Val
about
has
this.
watched this movie before.
Yes, I saw it in theaters. And okay, as your resident physics teacher and also person who majored in astrophysics, from what I can tell, and again, I'm not the ultimate authority on this, but I would say there is really only one scientific inaccuracy here. And it's that they don't show off the lower surface gravity of Mars.
Hmm.
Now, there are a few moments where he, like, drops something where it kind of looks like maybe it's a little slower than usual, but I don't feel like it's as much of an effect, because the surface gravity of Mars is, like, 37% of Earth.
Hmm.
So that's a pretty big difference. So I think the moon, for example, I think is 16%. So that's an even bigger difference. But still, that's like about twice the moon. Like, that's fairly close, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that said, though, I don't know how they would show that, right? So
Yeah.
that's kind of a thing where I'm like, all right, you know. And again, this story doesn't really, you know, it's not like because okay. I remember back to Armageddon, where they bring up the fact the asteroid was going to have small gravity and then never ever use it except for that one jump.
Oh.
So that
Yeah,
was
I
fucking
definitely
They
stupid.
did.
just
Remember
started
that.
watching. Not watching. They just started walking on the asteroid as if it was Earth and
Yeah.
everything.
So this at least makes more sense because you would be like actually walking on Mars, and again, they never talk about it. So at least it's not in your head. And it's a thing where it's like, wait a minute, you just said. So it's a minor thing. It doesn't like make the story worse when even the Armageddon thing literally made the story worse. But whatever. So it's just, you know, if you were trying to be technical, that's technically something that's a bit off. But pretty much everything else that I can tell, I'm not insanely familiar with all this, with some of this stuff, but seems to be fine. I do like, well, this also wasn't Interstellar, but like the main ship and how they kind of simulate gravity is by having it like spin around, like rotate.
Yeah.
And so that's a legitimate thing. And yeah, I mean, again, then at least some of then a lot of the numbers they were talking about in terms of like they mentioned the light minutes, for example, being like, you know, 12 minutes at one point. I'm like, that's reasonable, you know, assuming, in the orbit that could work. Because I know from the sun to here is about it's 8.5 minutes, I think. And then Mars is 1.5 times that. So the sun to Mars would be about, let's say, 13 minutes. And so then that means within the orbit, the closest it would be like a 5-minute difference, and then the furthest it would be a 21-minute difference.
Mm-hmm.
24, something like that. So yeah, so that seems pretty accurate. Yeah, so that's pretty good for something that's, you know, like this. That's good, that's accurate. But anyway, enough about that pointless stuff. Let's actually talk about the movie. Okay. The one, like, not really science thing, but, like, the one, like, kind of issue I have with, I guess, the plot or whatever is unfortunately, and I mentioned this when we were watching it, it's unfortunately the very beginning, the fact that they like didn't see the storm coming when it's literally like
I was
right
gonna
there.
bring that up too.
Am I the only person not bothered by that?
I don't know. Again, I feel like it could have just been better.
Think about it. Even for Sandy, right? We found out about it like a few days before, and that was considered a late notice.
Well, no, okay, so here's the thing. I get the idea of, like, you know, it's not like we have fucking, you know, radar on Mars all the time, okay? So I get it where it's like, okay, they thought there was a storm here, but they realized kind of late that, like, it's a bigger storm than they thought, and it was more dangerous. I understand that fine. I just think it's weird that, like, they didn't realize the problem when they could literally see it there, like, right there. So that's kind of, that's my issue. And again, is it a big issue? No. Like, but still, I just feel like maybe have it, like, a little bit further away so that you couldn't really see it, but then just maybe when they're trying to pack stuff up to, like, go away, something happens and messes something up, so they have to stay for longer than they thought. I don't know, something. But again, it's so minimal, it doesn't really matter, but it's just something where I'm like, But anyway. Again, like, you said it doesn't bother you at all, so, you know, it's not a big deal. But besides that, though, like, yeah, I don't know. I remember liking the movie when I saw it in theaters, and I still really like it now. So, besides that, I can't really think of anything else that's a problem. One thing I'm really glad they did do is that the characters in this are not just like super bummed out.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell, of course, that stuff is like a problem for them, and that, like, you know, this is difficult mentally for them. But like, they do like joke with each other, and, you know, especially the main guy. You know, he makes fun of things, and like, it's at least makes it enjoyable to watch, right?
Yeah.
It's compared this to like Castaway, right? Like, the different. Okay, I'm not saying Castaway is bad because of it, right? But it's definitely a different mindset, right?
Yeah.
A different emotional experience, and so I'm kind of glad that they went that way. And apparently, the book that this is based on a book, and that was like specifically part of the book where the character was, you know, that was his character, so.
I also really appreciate that, because it would have been really easy to just turn this into a mope fest, basically. Where it's like, okay, I'm gonna die here and everything. And I guess the thing, to compare it to, like, Gravity and Apollo 13, for those movies, relatively speaking, those take place over a very short period of time, right? Like, the entire event is over in like a very short period of time.
Gravity pretty much was like the length of the movie, it seemed. While Apollo 13 was, at least when they were in space, probably like a weekish or something.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Here it's like he's there for the long haul, basically. So while in those movies they could kind of afford to like show the more depressing sides of things and stuff, you can't have him be depressed throughout the entire thing
for like 2 years.
Yeah, because that's like, okay, well, we're going to be here with you, and we're going to be watching you and everything, so you're going to be alive at the end. If you're going to be alive at the end of the movie, you can't just be sitting there and stuff too.
Yeah.
So
and again, like, the whole thing about, it's not to say that, like, oh, if it's like depressing or whatever, that's like a bad thing. Again, like, you know, Gravity worked extremely well with the atmosphere it set
exactly.
up. So, and again, it's kind of one of those things like, okay, comparing those three, Apollo 13, Gravity, and this, like, I'm trying to think, like, how do I, you know, rank them? Because again, even though the overall plot is very similar, right? Something fucked up happens in space. I mean, well, Mars in space, whatever, you get the idea, right? They are still portrayed very differently in terms of the emotions that's going on, and also just kind of the style of the film. Because like both this and Apollo 13 are kind of, at least in terms of the filming of it and the presentation of the story, are fairly standard, right? It's good, it's done very well, but again, the whole framing of the movie is standard. Gravity is not a standard movie, right?
Yeah.
It's shot very differently, the pacing is different, it's very kind of, again, it's so focused on just the main character. And I think because of that, I like Gravity more. But, again, comparing Martian to Apollo 13, I'm like, oh, that's really hard. And part of it also is the fact that we saw Apollo 13 so fucking long ago, I don't remember it that well. But
I guess the other thing, too, is that all of them take place in fairly different time periods, where
oh, yeah, true.
Apollo 13 is based on an actual thing that happened.
Yeah.
Right.
then gravity could theoretically take place in the present
Yeah,
and stuff,
basically.
while this is definitely in the future.
Yeah, I
It's
mean, not
the very
you know,
near future.
well, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah, like a few decades for probably the idea is later, but yeah. So there's that, and again, the tone is different, and yeah, I don't know. So it's very hard to kind of compare. Let's see, what else did I could think of that I liked particularly? Oh, well, actually, this isn't something that I thought that I necessarily liked, but I was looking at one of the characters, the I don't know what his job title is, but it was one of the guys at NASA, the black guy, the older one, not the younger one who does the calculations, right?
Okay.
The guy with the glasses?
Yeah. So I'm like, he looks familiar, and I couldn't place why, and so I looked it up. He was that same black scientist kind of guy in 2012.
Oh.
So, and I was like, okay, yeah, that makes absolute sense. And then I looked to see what else he did, and apparently, and if I read this right, he's the voice of Scar in the upcoming Lion King remake.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So, and I'm like, wait, him? Like, he doesn't seem threatening, like, at all. So now I'm like wondering how that's
he
gonna
beat
work.
Darth Vader, though?
Yeah. So, what? No, that was Mufasa.
Oh, right.
So,
No, I think you're thinking of... Wait,
Jeremy Irons was Scar.
that's...
Yeah.
that was Simon in A Die Hard, right?
Yeah, yeah. So,
No, yeah.
so I'm just like, how is that gonna work? Again, I don't see him as threatening. Even his voice sounds like, kind of like a nice dude. So I mean, if it works, it works, right?
Fatherly.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, hey, actually, that'd be kind of interesting if they kind of try to turn Scar as like less of just straight up menacing, as like kind of try to make him quote unquote nice, but like take that could be an interesting angle if they go that way. It also would make it like at least kind of different. Anyway, let's not talk about Lion King. So I just thought that was interesting.
When I looked up on the Wikipedia page and everything, the filming for this place actually took place in like Jordan,
right,
and stuff too, which is really cool.
Yeah, I would be curious to kind of like see, I'm assuming they did some sort of filter over the Mars scenes. I don't think it, because I noticed not only do things just look kind of redder. I mean, if you look at images of that desert in Jordan, it is like pretty red. But like the sky, and also not even just the sky, but also the light of the sun is like noticeably a bit dimmer than it would be on Earth. So, which makes sense, it's further away, right? So, yeah, so it would be interesting to kind of see like, I guess like an unedited shot of what the Mars scenes looked like, to compare. But also apparently the whole rover thing that they built for that, for the scenes through desert.
They gave it to Jordan and stuff as a present.
And it's apparently now on display in like a museum there or something. So,
oh, it's so cute.
So yeah.
Oh, actually, speaking of rovers too, I found it really cute how they like mentioned Pathfinder too.
Oh yeah, well they brought it back into the thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, this is kind of what a coincidence that I think like a day or two ago, like they received like the last signal from the Opportunity rover.
Oh yeah.
So
Aww.
the Opportunity rover like basically died like a day or two ago. So hooray.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. That's sad. But
I just remember how like the rovers like could sing themselves happy birthday.
oh yeah.
Because they're alone.
Mm-hmm.
It's so sad.
Just like Matt Damon was alone.
Oh my god. Did he sing happy birthday to himself?
I mean, he listened to disco music. I think
That's
at one
true.
point he was probably like, fuck it, I'm just gonna sing happy birthday to
I mean,
myself.
he was there for like at least like a year and a half, so his birthday must have happened at one point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and by
That would have sucked if he got stuck there on his birthday.
happy birthday.
Happy frickin' birthday to me.
Yeah. Well, one thing also that if you might be wondering like why they kept referring to the days as like soul and then like a number. Reason for that is that a Martian day is like very slightly different than an Earth day.
That's true.
It's about 24 and a half hours. So if they try to sync it just by like the sunrise and sunset, he would be off. So that's why they refer to it by like those kind of numbers. So in case you're wondering about that. yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what else to say. I basically I like this movie a lot. There isn't too much in it. There isn't really any like thing that I can think of that where I'm like, ooh, I absolutely love a certain aspect about it. But I think everything is done very well. I pretty much hold it about the same opinion as Apollo 13, which is quite high. I think if you forced my hand, I think I like this one more, but it's so close. So I think I literally have it like right above Apollo 13, but it's very tight. I could absolutely see someone going the other way. So I don't know.
I wonder if you actually can grow potatoes on Mars if you do what he did.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not the botanist, so I can't comment on that.
You're not the botanist.
No.
Matt Damon's the botanist.
Exactly. Which isn't a real science.
I'm sure. I mean, it
seems plausible.
It seems possible. I mean, it depends on like, because you need like phosphorus, nitrogen, and I forgot what the last one is.
Well, okay, because the main thing you definitely need, you need a place to put it. Where the ground. Easy. You need sunlight. Okay, you have that. It's less, but you have it. You need water, which he made, and then you need nutrients, and then the nutrients was from the poop. So like,
yeah.
I feel like you have everything there. Again, I think the main problem would just be making sure you have like there's enough nutrients that's also consistent, and
then the consistent water.
Having everything be consistent, and then
you could also, depending on what plant you have, you could have more or less. You might need more or less water, more or less sunlight too.
Right. Well, yeah, I think that would be the thing I'd be the most worried about is that the sunlight is less. Because let me actually check how much sunlight does Mars get compared to the Earth. I think it's just an inverse square thing. So if it is, then I can't do the math in my head. Should just list it like right on. What's it, right? Wikipedia. I don't see it. That's weird.
They don't know.
I mean, again, I know how I can calculate it. I just, don't want to do it right now. It should be... Okay, so it seems, again, for some reason this seems to be kind of difficult to calculate. But, okay, there, it actually shows a little calculation. Okay, so, yeah, it's an inverse square thing. Okay, so it's about 44% of the sunlight. So it's less than half. So that's kind of the question. Like, can you grow things with less than half the sunlight? I'm sure you can grow some things. Again, is it potatoes? I don't know, right? But that's not unreasonable, right? It's not like it's 10%, right? That'd probably be a lot more like, yeah. So, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what else to say about this. It's good. I like it. Go watch it.
Yes. Yeah.
Finally, I could watch it after all this time.
Yeah, I presume that you did not feel disappointed.
No, it was just everyone else said everything I wanted to, so there was nothing left for me to say.
That's fine.
Except my outburst in the beginning.
Oh,
Wait,
yeah.
you didn't say your signature line for that?
Oh,
yeah.
I'm not gonna say it now.
Well, don't say it now, but
it's written on my gravestone. Just go to my grave and you'll see it there.
Yeah, because anyway, I guess we can all pretty collectively agree this is by a pretty far margin the best movie of the year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty much the only one that comes any close at all would be Avengers, and it's not even that close, I would say.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, which is this. This is probably so far the worst year of the 2010s.
Yeah, in modern times, at the moment, it's a pretty weak year.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, that's kind of annoying. Anyway, well, next up is a sequel to something that we saw.
I don't know if I would say sequel.
Yeah, question mark. Again,
Just
it's
another installation.
Yeah. Well, okay, so I've heard mixed things about this coming up.
Same.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's going to be terrible, but
still probably mildly disappointing.
Yeah, maybe. Again, who knows? Maybe this is the one we like. Whatever. Who knows? Well, I don't know. Whatever. We'll find out tomorrow. So, hooray. Bye.
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 God, we're so awkward.